Hey everybody, it's Michael Kuznetsov from CodeSpan, and in this video I'm going to be going over the grid layout in CSS3. So let's go ahead and get started with some notes. So what are CSS grids? Basically they are a 2D layout on the web page that align columns on both items and rows. Now Flexbox, which is kind of similar to the grid layout, which I'll get into in a different video, is one-dimensional for columns and rows, while the grid is two-dimensional for columns and rows. And for a better visual representation, you can take a look at this picture I drew over here. The Flexbox is one-dimensional and the grids are two-dimensional. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and hop into my text editor and show you how you can get started using grids today. I'm going to be going over a few basic examples, and then I'll progress into the more advanced examples as we go on. Alright, I'll see you in the text editor. Alright, now that we're inside my computer, we can go ahead and get started. I'm using JSBin for the text editor. Now, you can go ahead and use it too if you type in jsbin.com. It's completely for free. You don't have to worry. It's completely for free. The reason I like it is because it shows you the output on real time over here. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to do is add a couple of divs in the body. So let's go ahead and do div, and we'll go ahead and we'll just call this div class, and let's do grid dash item, and then we'll make this one a, and I don't know why this got messed up over here, sorry, grid dash item, and then we'll add the greater than sign and then put a, and then we'll close the div down here. Now I'm gonna have 6 items here, so I'll just go ahead and copy this 6 times. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, awesome. So now let's change the letters so we can differentiate them. Alright, so A, B, C, D, E, and then we'll put an F right there. Alright, awesome. So now we have our grid items lined up over here. Now they're not in a grid yet, and to do this, to actually put them in a grid, I'm going to add a div class, and I'm going to call it grid container. So let's do div, and then we could do class and then equals, and then we'll put grid dash container. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and close it off down here, and let me go ahead and add a couple extra spaces so you can see this a little bit better. Alright, so as you can see, we have a grid container, and the grid container holds these 6 grid items over here, but they're not styled in any particular way. So let's go ahead and style them. Now, I'm going to be doing internal styling, which means I'm styling it inside the head tags over here. But if I was creating an actual project and using like a real text editor like Atom or Brackets, I'd be using an external CSS file, because if you've ever made a website before, you know that it could get really clunky inside the head tags here, and your website could load a lot slower. So in general, it's good practice to put all your CSS into an external file as well as your JavaScript, but for this example I'm just going to do it in the head tags. So let me go ahead and get started by styling the grid container. So I'm going to add my style tags over here, and let me close them off down here. Alright, cool. So inside I'm going to go and put dot, since it's a class, and then grid dash container. And I'm going to add some curly braces around this, and let's go ahead and actually make it an official grid. So to do this, you're going to type in display, and you're going to change this to grid. Alright, cool. So now it's officially a grid. Although it doesn't look like it because we didn't give it any grid properties yet, it's officially a grid. So you could use other grid properties you can use other grid properties congruently with this. So let's go ahead, and first things first, I want to put my grid template column property, and what this is going to do is it's basically going to set the formatting for it. So we can go ahead and do grid dash column, or grid dash template dash columns, and let's change this to auto. Alright, cool. So now we have 4 unique sections for this grid. So next thing I'm going to do is add a grid dash gap property, and what this is going to do is it's basically just going to space out the items. So let's go ahead and change this to, let's do 15px. Yeah, actually no, let's do 5px. All right. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and add some color to better see what this grid is going to look like. So I'm going to add a background dash color property, and I'm going to just set this to, let's just do green. All right, cool. Now that we have that out of the way, we can go ahead and add some padding to give it space because it's really clustered right now. So I'm going to give it a padding of, let's do 25 pixels. All right, awesome. So now that we have that out of the way, we can go ahead and style the individual items over here. So like A, B, C, D, E, and F. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to type in dot grid dash container and greater than sign followed by div. All right, so then we're going to do background dash color, and let's change this to powder blue so each of these could have a little powder blue background. So powder blue, and then as you can see, each of these have their own little powder blue background. That looks pretty good now. So we can go ahead and add a text dash align property. And since they are aligned to the left, I want to align them to the center to make it look a little bit more clean. I'm just going to type in center, and then there we go. All right, next we have to go add some more padding because as you can see, they still look really tiny and clustered with each other. So I'm going to go ahead and add a padding of about, let's do 30 pixels. All right, cool. So now that they have a padding of 30 pixels, we want to increase the font size a little bit because it looks kind of funny right now since the text is super small but the boxes are super big. So I'm going to do a font dash size property, and let's change this to 50 pixels. All right, so the font is a little bit bigger now, and as you can see, the boxes are more defined. All right, so next I want to make kind of like a triangle shape. It's gonna have basically 3 columns here, 2 columns here, and then 1 column here. It's gonna be kind of like a pyramid standing on one of its edges. You'll see it looks really, really cool. If you're, for example, creating a menu here and you have some sort of like a backdrop with your logo, this could look really, really cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and style this. But before I go ahead and do that, I just wanted to say that if you want to learn more about this stuff, more about grids, flexboxes, animations, whatever it may be, just go ahead and click the link down in the description. I have a completely awesome web design course that I developed. It's helping tons and tons of people. A lot of people are benefiting from it. They love it. Just go ahead and check out the link in the description. It'll basically tell you how I'm doing everything I'm doing right now, and it'll go more in depth, and I have tons and tons of content in there, bonuses, all that stuff. So feel free to go ahead and check it out down the link in the description. It's full of a ton of value. I promise you'll love it. So please go ahead and do that if you like the video I'm making. It'll help me a lot by supporting me. But with that being said, we can go ahead and move into the actual rearrangement of this. So let's go ahead and start. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go down here and I'm going to change a couple of these classes. So I'm going to change the first one to grid-item-a. I'll go ahead and change the grid-item-e. I'll change the e box to that, and then I'll change the F1 as well. So the reason I'm doing this is just because I'm going to style each of these up here. I don't really care about the other ones because the other ones are going to stay the same, but A and E and F are all going to be different in some way. So let's go ahead and start by addressing the grid-item-a class. And let's go ahead and so let me tell you how I'm going to kind of manipulate this. So in a grid there are columns which go down. So this is column 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, right? And then there's rows, which is 1, 2, and 3, like that. So what I want to do is I want to manipulate the columns to go ahead and stretch out these units a little bit longer. So the property I'm going to use for this is grid dash column and then dash start, and then I'll be using grid dash column dash end. So grid item A is going to start on 1 like it is right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and make it end on the 3rd column. So I'm going to do column dash end, and then I'll go ahead and put 3. Now as you can see, this stretches out from 3 columns, so 1, 2, and 3. Awesome. Now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and copy this 2 more times, and I'm going to go ahead and change this to E, and I'm going to go ahead and change this one to F. So it looks kind of messed up. Don't worry, just erase the values here, and I'll get into what we're going to do right now. So for grid dash item E, we're going to go ahead and do, let's start it at 2, and then we can go ahead and move on to, or we can go ahead and make it end at 4. So now, as you can see, we have basically our item A starts at 1, stretches out to 3 column, and then our item E starts at 2 and stretches out to the 4 column. So to bring down this F unit over here and stretch it out to 2, we're going to follow the same kind of format that we've been following. So we're going to start it at 1, and we're going to go ahead and end it at the 3rd column. Alright, cool. So now we have our shape that I was kind of looking for. Now what it's doing is it's kind of like a 3-2-1 pattern. Kind of looks like a pyramid. I saw a website, forgot the name of it, do this, and I wanted to replicate it because I thought it looked really cool. But they had their logo up here and they had their slogan down here, and this was their menu at the very top. It looked pretty cool, so I wanted to go ahead and replicate this. They're pretty versatile. They're kind of like Flexbox, but not exactly. I'll be going over Flexbox in a different video. But anyways, I hope this helped you out a lot. Again, if you enjoyed this, feel free to check out my course in the description down below. It helped out tons and tons of people with web design and basically with getting their web design career started. So go ahead and click the link in the description, and it'll take you to my course page, and it'll support this channel as well as my channel again. But if you enjoyed this, go ahead and feel free to check out my channel. It's youtube.com/codespan. And again, my name is Michael Kuznetsov. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you inside the next one.